Hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's Take Charge of Your Life discussion, where we give you tips for mind, body, and soul wellness. My name is Tish Taylor from Growth Centric Living. I provide neuroconditioning programs and heart-centered mentorship and help people align with their true self to live lives of more fulfillment. And this is my co-host, Roberta.
Hey, welcome everyone. I am the owner of Wake Up to Life Wellness. I'm a holistic health practitioner and a certified elite mentorship trainer. In my health work, I just help people to restore and optimize their health to very high level so they can live life unhindered, from the sufferings of physical health. And I know that nothing's impossible to heal. And on the elite mentorship trainer side, we both are working to empower people. And as you hear in our discussions, if you've been following us, we're just really passionate about empowering people with this message and with this content so that we can live that fulfilled life and that life of abundance that we all know is possible, probably deep within us.
As Roberta said, we are both certified elite mentorship trainers. This is under our mentor who has dramatically changed my life, Mr. Peter Sage. For those of you that aren't aware of who he is, he's a globally recognized motivational speaker known for his deep understanding of human behavior and self-mastery. He's spoken in over 63 countries worldwide and dedicated his life to empowering individuals. And Roberta and I hope to be able to influence even a fraction of as many people as he has. So our agenda for today is to show you a little clip of our mentor, Peter Sage, and then we're going to break it down into our 3 parts, give you some tangible tips on your mindset, how to live empowered, your physical health, how to live healthy, and lastly, in the soul realm, in how to live free.
Awesome. So today our topic is going to be called the sovereign archetype. And we started last week with just introducing the concept of archetypes in our introduction video on this subject. And the sovereign archetype really represents our inner ruler, the part of us that governs ourselves with wisdom, self-discipline, and integrity. So it's that voice within that's going to lead us to our highest good. And so I'll just share that with you right now.
The most powerful archetype that Jung really expressed was the archetype of the sovereign, the energy within us that really is about governance, self-governance first. Being able to have that self-discipline, being able to make the right choices, not the choices that serve our instant gratification. The energy of the sovereign, if it's balanced, can lead to harmony in your life, can lead to equilibrium. If it's unbalanced and you have a dictator, a sovereign that's all about the low conscious energy of me, then that's going to reflect back in circumstances in your life that are unfavorable. If you have a high conscious, a benevolent sovereign, you're also going to be able to take care of the inner kingdom while being able to maintain equanimity amongst friends, relationships, conflict in the outer world. So understand that the first archetype to really master is the energy and the archetype of your sovereign.
So that leads us right into our first section. We're going to talk about this video in regards to mindset and empowerment. So a reminder that last week, if you missed it, we did give an introduction to 4 archetypes, and this is one. This is the leader, the sovereign energy, and this is why we're talking about this first, since this one really can, mastering this energy and this mindset can really facilitate mastering the other ones. And it's okay. Last week, we asked you to figure out which one might be dominant in you and think about some of your characteristics. If the sovereign energy is already, the leader is already dominant in you, then you are already a couple steps ahead maybe of some of us, especially if you're balanced, which we'll talk about. But it's okay otherwise if you are one of the other archetypes, which Roberta and I definitely resonated with some of the other ones a little bit more, and we've been working to train ourselves and master the sovereign energy as well as we go through our programs and work on our own growth. So like Peter described, this archetype is responsible for self-governance, self-discipline. It makes the right choices, not just choices for instant gratification, especially when it is balanced. So this is the one that this is the archetype that helped you decide to watch our video today. It's the one that's pushing you to grow so that you can master your inner kingdom, so that you can master yourself or your own personal little world of greater good and be the best version of you. It's a personality type. That one balanced, your mindset brings vision, wise decision making, and the empowerment to take radical responsibility for your choices rather than being ruled by impulse or external pleasure. The archetype, though, however, like we talked about, when it's balanced, it's amazing, right? And this takes time for us to get to. So make sure that you're keeping that in mind as we sort of work through this, because we need you to also be able to point out that if your sovereign energy is unbalanced, it's a little bit more tyrant-like. It's run by ego and, self-interest versus clarity and values of the greater good.
I love how, as you were talking, I'm thinking about how that sovereign energy is what's led me to do the transformational journey for my whole adult life, really. Knowing that it's for my highest good, knowing that it's for the benefit, the greater good of other people in my life. And just that constant inspiration, I think, comes from that just no matter how challenging the journey gets, or if I want to give up and say, oh, this isn't working for me, or this is too hard, the sovereign keeps bringing me back to really my responsibility to myself, to others, and how what I give to the world. And it's like a compelling invitation when we are able to love ourselves and not have this shoulding in our life, like I should do this, and then always feeling like I'm not measuring up. If I frame it from a place of invitation, it's just that higher voice calling me to just live into my fullness. That's a big deal for me, to live into my potential and to not just hang out and live a mediocre, barely existing existence. At least psychologically, that's really important to me, because that was my struggle for so long. Being in depression for so long, it was like I just barely could breathe sometimes and get through the moment. So to have a bigger view, a better view, knowing that we have power in this archetype to get us where we want to be it changed everything for me, really.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I'm thinking also as, mothers and rulers of our household, this is the sovereign energy that helps us decide, what's best for our family, for the kids as well as ourselves, and, keeping that balance between our worlds, both inner and outer kingdoms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this archetype definitely shows up in parenting. That's a huge part of parenting, is this one. It's kind of takes over, even if we're not, technically this isn't our dominant archetype. The sovereign steps in and does a ton of things to get our kids where they need to be and get them through life. It's amazing.
So the tip I have for everyone is we're going to call it a daily throne check. So ask yourself each morning, if I were in my balanced sovereign energy, in my inner kingdom today, what is the one choice that I can make that serves the long-term good of my life rather than short-term gratification? So make sure you write this down once you ask this question, and then act on it. Keep making choices one at a time for, your long-term benefit. And this is a big part of living empowered under mindset.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's beautiful. So our next section is our live healthy in the body, the physical realm. And we know that our body is the kingdom's foundation, right? So since we are made up of physical matter, we have to live in this world. We have to have a body to carry us around and activate and implement whatever, our inner self is telling us, and what these voices, as we say, will be guiding us to do. So if the castle walls are weak in our kingdom, then the sovereign can't rule with strength. I can attest to that in my life, just being so mentally dysregulated, with a complex post-traumatic stress triggers that would happen. It was just really I just didn't have that drive and that ambition and that inspiration, that passion, that energy. It was just so tentative to just, make that next step just to get through my day. So really having a healthy, once I did my nutritional work and restored my brain, which had a lot of fatigue and just burnout, and just there was heavy metals and chemicals oppressing the brain. So it just actually couldn't heal. It had too many things against it and giving it what it needed to heal. And I start coming to life and start having energy. I can laugh more. I can talk more. I can stay in the game at social events because now my brain isn't just exhausted all the time. So that has been a huge piece of my transformation and recovery, is to heal that physical body so that we can step into these and empower these different things that come up in our life in the realm of archetypes. So yeah.
Especially with the body, I know that my sovereign energy is kicking in. It's the one that motivates me to find healthier recipes, to keep striving, to add more movement into my day, knowing exactly what you said. Like we talked in a previous talk about how one of the non-negotiable games of life is the health game. If our physical health is not taken care of, everything else goes down the drain. So this has to be a huge piece of where our sovereign, our leader energy is taking place and making decisions.
Yeah, that's perfect, because the sovereign energy teaches us that discipline isn't punishment. It's just, the highest good for us. It's our devotion to wanting to have that different life. If we give in to just the culture even, and the food industry and the pharmaceutical industry, we're just setting ourselves up for a life of just kind of being a victim of a really poor quality of life. And that just doesn't serve anyone, right, in our existence, and it doesn't leave a legacy that we know we'd love to leave for our kids and empower that next generation to keep getting through Earth School, because it's a huge task, and having a healthy body is critical. So yeah, like Tish said, if we don't do it, we have cravings, fatigue. It's going to be a vicious cycle that takes us downward. So I think really the physical part is, like she said, it's non-negotiable. The game of health is a non-negotiable game. So the tips I have around that is like ritual movement every day, just doing something to move. I know that movement helps heal trauma, because energy gets stuck in our body when it's been sitting there for decades, and just any movement is helpful in that realm. It raises our mindset, our inspiration, our energy. So that's a critical piece. The second tip I have under this is conscious nutrition. So instead of asking, what do I feel like eating, ask, what does my sovereign body need to thrive today? So I'm not really putting this tug of war within myself of saying, well, I want this, but I can't have it, because if we can't have it, then for sure we're going to want it. It's the forbidden fruit. So just giving ourselves that reframe and saying, what's going to serve me today, so that I can start stepping out in this more empowered version of myself. And then rest is the third point I wanted to make, is when we're resting, we're healing. If we're not getting enough rest, we are absolutely not giving our body the time it needs to heal, just from a natural state of how it's designed. And of course, if we don't rest, our mind is extremely overwhelmed. A lot of people have brain fog and anxiety from that, and just a lot of mental distress. So yeah, getting that rest is critical. We just stand taller, we feel stronger, and we can lead with confidence when we have a healthy body to do it in.
Yes, my sovereign energy has definitely been pushing me for a better bedtime routine, etc., and just knowing how important that is. Okay, that leads us then into our last section, which is living free in our soul realm. Here, in comparison to the sovereign energy, we talked about how mastering this is creating inner world order. So your inner kingdom, your thoughts, your emotions, your actions, all operating in alignment. The sovereign leads with this alignment. It also aligns with your higher purpose, not egotistical demands of, what I want, but what's better. We talk about some of our basic needs being both growth and contribution. It's the sovereign that's pushing us for contribution, that knows that us working on ourselves also brings the world up, that pulls other people and raises, global consciousness by us doing what we need to do in our own world. True sovereign is a steward. They serve something greater than themselves, the greater good.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I was just going to say, they're able to make hard choices despite what's happening around them. They do what is right, regardless, in your balanced energy.
Yeah, I love what you shared about when we do whatever we do, we're affecting everyone, right? There's a collective consciousness, and whenever we do good, we're actually impacting everyone really on some level in the world. I believe that. And so it's kind of inspirational, and you know, to say, yeah, I'm going to follow my soul path in this, be that wise person, make better choices, you know, impact myself and others more for good. It becomes like like something I love to do and want to do. And actually, we were designed to contribute in our lives. So just getting in touch with that kind of, it sets us free and gives us more fulfillment. Because if we're doing it just for ourselves, everything in life, and it's about me, we don't feel fulfilled and satisfied. We don't even, it's just not a joyful place to be, because we're out of our design, or out of the way we were, you know, what we were put here to do. So I love that, how you frame that up with the sovereign. And also, like you said, not being popular and making decisions. I think the sovereign in me has had to make tough decisions, and sometimes relationships go away because I'm being true to myself, my path. And but if I can allow, if I can release that with love, then it's all okay. And knowing that that person has to, find their path and decide how they want to view me. Sometimes they come around and, and realize that, I wasn't against them. I was just for me, or for something in my life that was super important. And I know with even my children, you have to make decisions that are not always popular. But it is for their growth and their, I was thinking of that earlier today. Someone was sharing a struggle they had with their kids. But if you feel like you have to be always at their beck and call, you're not teaching them how to have their own empowerment. And so sometimes just allowing them to go through processes and not jumping in to fix it, it has been the right thing to do. But it's painful for us to sit back and watch. But I think my sovereign knows then, let's do this for their lifetime benefit, rather than instant gratification or relief from whatever they're struggling with.
Yeah, that sometimes is a painful but authentic truth, like you said, in that as we grow and we lean into this sovereign energy, that it isn't always received well outside, and it can feel very lonely. If you think about kings or leaders, even in your family, like you're suggesting, sometimes our decisions for the greater good are not well known. It makes people feel uncomfortable, and they can kind of shy away from that. However, they're clinging to their own fears and their own familiarity, and we need to, as a balanced, or at our best in this energy, we can stick to our guns. It brings peace from our own inner kingdom. We feel stable and free to serve from this higher calling space, as we really truly lean into this sovereign leadership energy.
Yeah, beautiful.
So our tip for this part, our soul realm tip, is to take a sacred sovereign pause. Specifically, if you're struggling with an important decision, a big change, sit still with it. We've talked a lot about meditation in our past discussions as well. Recommend even placing your hand on your heart and asking yourself, what would my sovereign self choose if I were leading in alignment with source right now? And then just listen. What would the leader energy pick? What is for the greater good? What is the best decision? And you can feel it in your heart when you're balanced and in this, energy, that you're following what really truly is right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too. I can, as you're sharing, I feel like, I can, when I'm in that sovereign, mature, decisive energy, it just feels so grounding. So just safe almost, because my other archetypes might, want to pull me in directions that aren't as calming to my nervous system. And that definitely, I think of the wise old sage, in the storybooks or whatever, sitting at the gate of the city, and people could just trust that person. They would be wise. They wouldn't oversay things, but they would say what was important and critical and necessary, and they were trustworthy and they had high integrity. So if we can get in touch with that part of ourselves, it's a huge, it's a different life for all of us, really, to have that kind of high level way of interacting with the world. So for the summary, we're going to talk about the mind, body, and soul, just kind of reframe some of those, or, communicate again what their points were. So for the mind, we ask ourselves, if I were the sovereign of my inner kingdom today, what is one choice I can make that serves the long-term good in my life, rather than short-term gratification? So I think the sovereign's all about that mature version of us that will do what's best no matter what. And so the body, the reframe here is just neglecting the body weakens your self-governance, the ability to manage yourself. So caring for it strengthens, your confidence and leadership in your life in every way. In the soul realm, like Tish just shared, the sacred sovereign pause. If you're struggling with an important decision, sit still, place your hand on your heart and ask, what would my sovereign self choose if I were leading in alignment with source right now? And then, sit back and listen. When we listen, the answers come. I guess the imbalanced sovereign would be trying to fix and control and manage everything in kind of a hypervigilant way and thinking it was all on them to get a certain outcome. And then they become bossy and kind of forceful because they're feeling it's all on them. But if we sit and listen to that inner knowing, that intuition, we can, make a wise decision and not out of pressure or trying to prove anything, but just because it's the right decision.
Yeah, if you're confused at all about this kind of energy, we have so many examples throughout history or of leaders even right now that you can kind of look to and tell, realistically, were they balanced and, living their true inner aligned self, somebody like Gandhi or etc. Can't think of any examples at the moment. That is really balanced and not necessarily popular, especially at the beginning when they are, staying true to what they believe is right for everybody, and not what is popular in culture or even with the groups that they're trying to defend in those times, versus some other immature tyranny leaders that I'm sure we can find examples of throughout history as well.
Beautiful.
So our invitation today, this again is from what would be module 9. This is just a small part of our elite mentorship forum, which is our, complete personal transformation package and course. We do have one that is starting up shortly, so we encourage you to reach out to us if you're interested and feeling aligned with this work and ready. Your sovereign is telling you that it's time to level up, that it's time to invest in yourself and grow and learn these concepts. It is a 6-month program, but really is a lifetime of, family and mentorship and growth from within. So you're joining a community when you join our program.
Yeah, it is. It's incredible. Everybody I talk to, wherever they are in the world, that have done the Elite Mentorship Forum, it's the same comment, like it absolutely changed their whole entire life and how they view life and how they view the world and themselves. And just a fascinating experience. And it's well worth the investment. Like you said, 6 months of our time to change us for the rest of our life is really, and it's really doable. And plus it's so compelling. It's not a course where you just, after the first few weeks, it kind of gets kind of whatever, it's like just leaning in. I've done it several times and you just lean in every time to the teaching and training. It's very high level and compelling and just, grounded in massive amounts of wisdom and brilliance from Peter Sage, who created it. So we would love to have you book a call with us for a free consultation to talk more about if this is a good fit for you. And with that, we're just going to end with a quote. Mastering others is strength or control, but mastering yourself is true power, from Lao Tzu.
Encourage you to consider what we've talked about today, and hope to see you on our next discussion.
Thank you.